owned the GT4 for about a week now, and while it's a pretty good car, I had taken it into the canyons with my friends the other day, and I was keeping up with some pretty quick cars, some locals out there, a couple of Focus STs, some other cars. I was very surprised by this performance right out of the box, and not even knowing the car and not even really being comfortable with the chassis yet, how well balanced it felt and handling. But there's a couple tweaks I do want to make to this to make it even better. So today we're going to focus on one secret mod. You're going to have to watch until the end. It's pretty neat that you can retrofit something like this into a car that's a little bit older to sort of modernize it. So I think you guys will find it a little bit interesting. And then we're actually going to make some Aero and sway bar adjustments to make this handle even better. So there's like a street and track mode for the suspension and Aero, and we're actually going to modify that a bit. So straight from the factory, a lot of the suspension settings are tweakable. These do have adjustable coilovers from the factory, adjustable sway bars, so it's kind of neat that you have the option to do that. So this is our secret mod here. I'm not going to actually tell you what it does until after I actually install it, but take a guess in the comments what you think this is. There's a lot of wiring harness adapters, and there's a USB plug here. So we're going to be taking some stuff apart and upgrading one of the circuit boards in the car. So if you guys ever watch Misha's videos on YouTube, he drives the Nürburgring quite a bit in other people's cars. And it's funny because there was a 918 GT4 that he had driven in one of the videos, and something had, as he was driving the track, fallen from under the dash, and he was kind of scared. He thought it was like some sort of like bomb or device that was in the car.
There we go. Every time Porsche is different. There's something. It's like a OBD reader or something. I don't know what the hell that is. It's like hanging loose there. It's like right under the brake pedal and throttle pedal. That's not a good idea. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is. Did it come with some GPS tracker or something?
And a lot of this wiring can be intimidating looking, and if you don't install this kit properly, I could see how there could be some confusion that it's like some sort of GPS tracking device or something like that. But again, I'm not going to tell you exactly what this is, but it's funny because, yeah, this definitely was in one of Misha's videos. The first step of this secret mod is we have to take the trim pieces off in the center console, and then we're actually going to be removing that whole screen assembly. So let's do that now. And one of the other mods before we get into that was similar to the Golf T mod on the BMWs. There's a electronic valve to change the exhaust valves from open to close. And there's a button inside the car in the center console. My sister actually called that a binoculars button, but that's for the sport exhaust valves to open and close them. The issue is from the factory, even when you have that button pressed, it doesn't actually open the exhaust valves until like 4,500 RPM. So I had actually capped off, there's two vacuum lines going to these actuators for the exhaust. You pretty much just cap those off with vacuum caps, and then your exhaust is always open. And of course, this car is notorious for the 3.8 liter screaming flat six and the glorious sounds that come from it. And that's the main reason I bought this car, was for the sound. So might as well enjoy the exhaust note at all RPMs. The other thing is I'm looking into a company from Europe. I believe they're in the UK, that actually make a set of headers that aren't ridiculously expensive, like the sole headers. I believe the sole headers for these are around $4,500, which is absolutely insane. The most expensive headers I've ever seen, but I'm not used to the Porsche tax yet. So there's another company that actually makes the same set of headers. They fit perfectly, looking at all the forums. So probably gonna invest in that because you can actually fix some of the torque dip issues in this 3.8 liter and smooth out the power band and gain, you know, probably like up to 20 horsepower, which is doing a set of headers in catless. So looking forward to doing that, but yeah, let's continue on the other mod. Might as well tell you guys what this is at this point in the video. So this module is actually a Apple Carplay / Android Auto / screen mirroring, and it actually can do reverse camera, front facing camera. I don't have the cameras hooked up, but yeah, this little extra module that goes on top of the normal infotainment system on the Porsche enables, you know, this old hardware to come into the 21st century. So what it does is these two ribbon cables actually go to the screen. So you have one ribbon cable for the dials and buttons, and then the second is for the display signal itself. So what it does is it loops into this board, and it will actually either bypass this functionality as a straight through or a pass through from the original board underneath, or you hold down the info button on the front, and then it actually takes a signal from the Apple CarPlay processor and then sends that to the screen. So it turns this into a dual purpose device. But I was running into some problems. This actually took me hours of troubleshooting to figure out. These little ribbon cables here don't have this special little keyway in it. So if you look at this one, for example, see it's got those little ears on the sides there, and these replacement ones don't. So what happens is the pins don't get exactly aligned inside the ports, and if they're a little bit misaligned, the pins don't line up and nothing works. So I had put all this back together the first time and couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. So shifted the cables back and forth, and after a while it finally started to work. So last thing to do here is to put the CD DVD drive back on, which just goes back on the top of this stuff. And hopefully I don't mess up the ribbon cables in the process. And there's another ribbon cable here that has to plug back into the board. But a little bit finicky. I will show you guys in a minute when this module is back in the car to show you its functionality. I think you guys will find this pretty cool. I was messing around with this thing a lot and kind of drained the battery in the car. So we got the charger on it right now, but I'll show you this Apple CarPlay stuff in a little bit. But I did also add this really cool GoPro mount from Flat Six Motorsports. It's gonna actually be the perfect view, so you can see it's right in between the seats. Just another angle to get some driving footage in the future, so I'm kind of hyped about that. All right, so here we have the normal Porsche display, and then when you hold down the info button, it goes into Apple CarPlay. And then you can actually press this home button and choose Android Auto, or actually replicate the screen on your phone, things like that. It's got a whole bunch of other settings in here. So yeah, there's actually a lot to this. And then the controls, like the knob still works. Volume still works, obviously. And then you can, again, flip back and forth between the Porsche UI and this. So it's kind of nice. Definitely modernizes the car for sure. And something I was really leaning towards getting the 718 GT4 instead, just because this is Apple CarPlay. But now that I got it now, it's not really too big of a deal, which is cool. And the UI is actually pretty responsive, and yeah. So the only last thing I was going to do in this video was show you the aero and suspension adjustments, but this has turned into kind of a lengthy video, so I'll kind of just describe what I'm going to be doing here. There is a flap under the wheel well. It's kind of hard to see. It's in this back area. There's a little strip, so you actually remove that and you get a little bit more downforce in the front. And to balance it out, there's actually a second notch here in the wing. It's tough to see when the bolt's actually connected, but it's a very, very minute change for the angle of attack to match the change in the front. And then likewise, a lot of the recommended settings for the sway bars is to go full stiff in the rear and then in the medium setting in the front, and then apparently makes the car a little bit more balanced. So I'm gonna end up trying that out. I mean, it handles pretty well right now with the sway bars at the factory setting, which I think is medium, but we're gonna experiment with this a little bit and see what happens. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm actually gonna be going on a trip with this car. We're gonna be doing Devil's Highway, so I'm trying to film a little bit of that trip. That will actually be in a couple weeks. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions with the car. I actually am planning on doing the case swap on the S2000 next, so that'll be coming. And then we do have Jeremy's car that we're in the process of filming the video for. That's that turbo E36 I have. Finally got it running, and he had to get a couple of fire rings for the wastegates, and we should be up and running pretty soon. So stay tuned for that video. That'll come out in the next couple weeks as well. But yeah, definitely slowing down a little bit with the video uploads, but trying to get back into things again because channel is definitely pretty popular and I really appreciate you guys subscribing. So I will see you guys on the next one.